We have lots of breaking news to get into in regards to Tesla, including China delivery numbers for the month of November, which are outright impressive. What's also impressive is the economic data today and the resiliency of the economy. This can likely trigger a large move higher. According to Heisenberg on X, Tesla stock is about to blow, and it's going to blow to the upside, at least if the chart holds true. Today, Tesla stock is above its 100-day moving average. We have so many good things to get into here in this video. I don't want to waste your time. Let's be honest. Your time is your most valuable asset. You cannot get it back. You cannot buy it. So let's not waste it. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you guys want to stay up to date with future videos, and let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. Start with some of your most impactful Tesla stock news today for November. Year to date, this is 34% higher than November of 2022. I should also point out this is excluding Model S and X deliveries in China, which those are usually way lower. Expect that to add maybe 1,000 or 2,000 to the total of 65,000. This article was put out today around noon when Tesla stock was actually going lower. This is because Tony Sacconaghi notoriously incorrect. He's notoriously wrong on Tesla stock. He has a price target of $150 over the next 12 months. He says 40% downside could be coming to Tesla stock, and shorting Tesla is one of Bernstein's best ideas for 2024. I don't know what about the current setup in Tesla seems desirable to short. Is it the fact that we're expecting 5 rate cuts in 2024 and no recession? At least that's what the economic data suggested today, and the reason why Tesla stock is doing well, we'll go over that here in this video. Or it could be FSD heading to China. Rumors are this December, literally this month, or January. What about the EPS estimates falling about 40% within the last 12 months, thus making it easier to beat numbers coming next year? What about rates in general coming down 5, 6 plus times and Tesla raising prices? Do any of those things sound like you should be short in Tesla? Maybe it's the $10+ trillion of money on the sidelines that is no longer in our markets. Maybe that's a good reason to be short. If that money comes back into the markets, what's going to happen? Tesla's going to do very well. Hopefully, if you can't tell, I'm being very sarcastic here. There is very little reason to be short in Tesla. Even after today's data this morning, Tony Sacconaghi really should have thought this one through, because this data today shows we're probably not heading into a recession. At least not anytime soon. US payrolls rose 199,000 jobs in the month of November. The estimate was 180,000 jobs, so we actually came in higher than Wall Street's estimates. In 2022, this would have been seen as bad news, but now that inflation is in the 3s, we really just want to see the economy holding up during the last stage of getting inflation back down to a comfortable level for the Fed. Unemployment rate, that was at 3.9%. It fell to 3.7%. So unless you are making the argument that the economy is going to see a moderate to deep recession next year, there's no valid argument to be short in Tesla. Theoretically, the average buyer of a Tesla is upper middle income anyways. Those are usually not the first jobs that get lost during a slight cool down or slight recession in the economy. And it's hard to sit here and forecast some kind of deep recession as the unemployment rate just fell, 2 basis points, and the payrolls just beat estimates by 20,000. Electric Co. decided to pick the Tesla Model Y for their vehicle of the year. As the first electric vehicle to become the best-selling passenger vehicle in the world, it is undoubtedly the most impactful EV in the world, which is not surprising because it's nearly a flawless product. Joe Tetmeyer says Cybertruck's at Giga Texas. Production volume seems very low, but 5 in the outbound lot, 3 at East Superchargers, several driving around, and many near the main entrance. So who knows exactly what's going on here. I'm sure there is more Cybertrucks than what is pictured here. At least we would hope the production at this point is greater than 10 Cybertrucks a day. Tesla says the 2023 holiday update rolls out next week. Here's what's coming. Custom lock sounds. Replace the horn lock sound of your vehicle with another sound like a screaming goat. LAN party on wheels. Play your favorite games on the rear touchscreen. That's interesting. You can see here Fallout, Skyforce, couple different notable games there. It says rear screen Bluetooth headsets. Parents rejoice. Rear passengers can now use wireless Bluetooth headphones when watching shows or playing games on the rear screen. Apple Podcast. You can now listen to Apple Podcasts. Tesla app trip planner. Use the Tesla mobile app to plan a multi-stop trip and send it to your vehicle. Speed cameras on route. Navigation now includes speed cameras, stop signs, and traffic lights. Automatic 911 calls. Your vehicle will automatically call 911 if an accident triggers the airbags. Blind spot indicators. The blind spot camera will alert you with a red shading when your turn signal is on and a car is detected in your blind spot. More live Sentry cameras. When viewing vehicle surroundings from the Tesla app, you can now have access to the left and right pillar cameras for a total of 7 angles. Light show. Enjoy a thunderous new light show called The Arrival. Castle Doombad. Castle Doombad is now available in the Tesla Arcade, plus updates to Beach Buggy, Plopia, and Vampire Survivors. High Fidelity Park Assist. See a 3D reconstruction of your surroundings while parking. Availability varies by model and location. And here is a Tesla Cybertruck if you were curious on what it might look like if you're picking out a Christmas tree and hauling it with your Cybertruck. Well, here you have it. Tesla Model Y jumps to number 2 in new vehicle registrations in the US, overtaking Toyota's RAV4. Through the third quarter of 2023, Experian reports 2.5% of all newly registered vehicles were Model Ys. The only thing that is higher is the Ford F-150, which is about 3% of new registrations. Elon Musk commented on this post from Sawyer Merritt and says, cool. Tesla's Europe and Middle East X account did post this video of what looks like Tesla's driving in the desert at high rates of speed. Not exactly sure what they're implying by the caption of this video. That looks like a Model S, by the way. It looked like a Model 3 in the beginning. They have eyeballs here and says, to be continued. Some people are guesstimating this could be some enhanced off-road capabilities that could be coming to the Tesla lineup, but we'll have to wait and see. Tesla has announced that the Model Y standard range is sold out in China for 2023. Tesla should respect fundamental labor rights, including that of collective bargaining by labor unions. Norway's $1.5 trillion sovereign wealth fund, the world's biggest stock market investor, told Reuters on Friday. Rivian this week laid off about 20 members of its long-range battery cell development team, including Victor Propagepti, the company's lead cell designer and a former senior manager at Tesla. There is all of a sudden a lot of talk about this 360 bird's eye view. This is a feature that a lot of other newer vehicles have these days. There's a lot of rumors, though, that this could be coming to the Tesla lineup in the near-term future. Now, this is convenient, and hopefully this is good, considering we are likely starting to see a halo effect due to the Cybertruck with Tesla. This should make it a little bit easier for maybe people to know if they qualify for a Tesla or not. It says Tesla is now offering pre-qualified finance checks in the US, so you can see if you would be approved for a loan before you place your order. This optional pre-qualification program uses a soft inquiry on your personal credit report to assess your credit worthiness. There is also an update on the Tesla referral program for Cybertruck sweepstakes. It says one winner will be selected at random in early January to choose between a Foundation Series all-wheel drive or a Foundation Series Cyber Beast. No reservation needed, free of charge. So it looks like they will be giving out a Cybertruck to someone that is a part or taking part in this sweepstakes with their credits. Select superchargers in Ireland, Romania, and Hungary are now open to all electric vehicles. Tesla's second megafactory, located in Shanghai, is expected to start production in less than 6 months. When fully ramped, this factory will be able to crank out $15 billion worth of megapacks annually. Just for a little bit of context here, Tesla is going to do a little over $100 billion of revenue for this year. So 15 billion is quite a jump. That would theoretically be some big numbers to especially Tesla's bottom line if energy is like 30% net margins. This could be a big deal. Something we definitely want to watch carefully or closely. Tesla is appealing to the Court of Appeals in its lawsuit against the Swedish Transport Agency. Tesla claims that it is missing 1,000 license plates for new cars expected for delivery by customers. Elon Musk on Thursday asked the U.S. Supreme Court to consider whether the SEC overstepped its authorities in enforcing a constant decree that he has called a muzzle on his constitutional free speech rights, his lawyer said. The first ever Tesla sales and delivery center in Connecticut is officially open. Tesla got around Connecticut's direct sales ban by partnering with Mohegan Sun on sovereign tribal land. Buyers will soon be able to take delivery in Connecticut directly from Tesla. Tesla China reportedly stopped providing its 8,000 won insurance subsidy to the Model Y rear-wheel drive. The Model Y was so popular that it sold out in China this year. Thailand reported 292 Tesla sales and 0.6% market share for November. Year to date, this is 1,750% better than the same period last year. Slovenia reported 185 Tesla sales and 4.8% market share for November. Year to date, you're up 279% over this same period last year. CPCA reported exports of 16,928 out of Giga Shanghai. The model mix was 71% Model Y and 29% Model 3. Spain reached a new record quarter for Tesla sales already on December 1st. Imagine that December becomes as big as November in this chart. And here you can see just with the first 2 months of Q4, you're at the highest quarter ever in Spain. So this third month really could push that over the top. Tesla sales in Iceland also reached a new record quarter with just a few days in December. Goldman writes, this was the strongest University of Michigan reading since August. Median inflation expectations over the next year dropped to the lowest level since March 2021, the largest one-month decline in year-ahead inflation expectations since 2021. That was also a big part of the day today was the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Survey preliminary numbers for December. On your overall number, we were expecting 62. The higher, the better. This is for consumer sentiment. We came in at 69.4. Last month, we were at 61.3. This typically does not move around that fast. And this number just came in very high. This just came in at some of the highest points you've seen during the summertime. A lot of this is somewhat correlated to the markets, so keep that in mind. Markets have went higher. Sentiment has also went higher. But the thing the markets really care about the most is 1-year and 5-year inflation expectations. And these, well, have not been in a great place recently. They've actually been almost at 25-year highs, especially your 5-year inflation expectations. So we were expecting 3.3% for 5-year forward inflation expectations. Now we're at 2.8%. This was a huge decline. I mean, a huge decline. Take a look at this chart. You were at the highest level you have been at in the last 10 years at 3.2%, even when inflation was 9% in 2021 or close to 9%. We still didn't have, as high inflation expectations over the next 5 years as we just did last month. Well, now it just came straight down. You were almost at a 25-year high for 5-year forward inflation expectations. Today, well, this was great news. 1-year inflation expectations were at 4.5% last month. We were also expecting 4.5% for December's reading. The number came in at 3.1%. What? Came in 1.4% lower than the estimate? That's off the charts. I mean, look at it. You're now at the lowest point you have been at in all of 2023. You have to go back to 2021 to be this low for your 1-year forward inflation expectations. This is fantastic news. Mix this with a stronger economy, maybe not the strongest economy if you're looking at certain sectors, but overall, we added almost 200,000 jobs. That's better than a recession any day of the week. The unemployment rate falling is better than the unemployment rate rising. Now, some people are making the argument that if you strip out government payrolls and strikers that came back to work, you're only going to have about 26,000 job ads. So it still isn't that great with strikers that went back to work. Take those out of this 199,000 total. If you take government jobs out, which were 49,000, you're only like 26,000 jobs that were added. So it's not crazy hot, but strong enough across the board. It definitely signals we're probably not heading into the start of a recession, which is good for small mid-cap stocks, interest rate sensitive companies like a Tesla. Take a look at that. Your Russell 2000 is up 0.64%. Your NASDAQ is up about 0.5%. S&P up 0.40%. The Dow is up 0.37%. The VIX is getting smashed today, down 4.36%. That's a very large move downwards for the VIX, considering the Russell's only up about 0.5%. The Nasdaq's not even up 0.5%. You're seeing a lot of people getting more bullish following this data. This could spark a rally that could last a while. The only negative thing that you can really say today is 10-year treasury yields are up about 10.5 basis points. That is going to be expected if your payroll report comes in higher than expectations. That means your odds of a rate cut in March, well, they no longer are pricing that in. As of the last week or so, we were expecting a rate cut in March as well as May. Now we're not pricing that in right now, but it is pretty close still. So your odds of a rate cut in March, as of today, are at 43.9%. Your odds of a pause in March, a continued pause, December, January, and in March, is 51.5%. So it's not a done deal that we're not going to get a rate cut in March. But today, the odds are going lower that that will come. But remember this, and you'll make a lot of money if you remember this over your lifetime. Usually rate cuts are bad for markets because normally if the Fed is raising rates, it's because inflation is going higher than where they would like. They need to cool down the economy. Very few times in history has the economy held up and inflation fell. That's your soft landing argument. If inflation comes down and the Fed can cut rates, say 5 times next year, and we don't have a recession, that's a soft landing. Stocks are going to rip from here. If we have 10 rate cuts next year, but we have a recession, stocks are going to do very poorly. The recession is the thing you want to avoid at all costs. Doesn't matter if you get less rate cuts or more rate cuts. As long as you avoid a recession, that's what matters to equity prices. That's what matters to Tesla stock. Tesla's Google Trends data for the Cybertruck is at 100. No surprise there. We have the data that is finalized. And yeah, you are at the highest point you have ever been at. The Model 3 and the Model Y is kind of baselining out, actually moving downwards a little bit. We'll have to wait and see once this data is fully finalized if you are continuing to see an uptick in the Model 3 and the Model Y like it was suggesting in this data over the last couple of days. But there's definitely a lot of activity, a lot of searches in regards to the Cybertruck. Global inventory numbers for the Model Y continue to move slightly higher today. Model 3 is moving downwards a little bit today. Your Model S as well as your Model X are also moving downwards. This is some of the lowest inventory you have seen for the Model 3, the Model S, and the Model X in quite some time, whereas the Model Y is at some of the highest inventory we've ever seen for the Model Y, which is very strange. I'm still trying to figure out exactly why that is. It looks like Giga Shanghai is cranking out a lot of Model Ys. It looks like the Model Y is seeing a lot of demand in China. That could make sense given some of the union strikes and how China does transport some of their Model Ys to Europe. This could be reflective of a slowdown in actual transports, not sales, maybe not even deliveries, but from getting the vehicle from A to Z. I mean, getting a license plate is harder now than it was before due to these European strikes, right? That could explain some of this. And Tesla continues to run about 300 different ads globally. The percentage of stocks above their 50-day moving average is moving up about 1% today to 73.95%. You are up 1.37% today as a total. This is basically where you were during the summertime. It's just showing more of a broad participation across the board, especially today and what we've seen over the past couple of weeks. Your small mid-cap stocks have been outperforming. That's a trend I expect will continue and get dramatically more obvious in 2024. Tesla will likely outperform in 2024 and your quality small and mid-cap stocks. So I expect this percentage of stocks above their 50-day moving average is probably going to continue higher from here. And it's not something to worry about in my personal opinion. It fundamentally makes sense why interest rate sensitive names would do well if we're expecting 4 or 5 rate cuts in 2024 and no recession. Tesla's stock today has seen 623 option orders from hedge funds and institutions worth $1.33 billion with a positive order value of 50%. So this is a little bit better, a lot better than what we seen yesterday when you had $1.5 billion worth of option activity in Tesla with a positive order value of 22%. I also want to remind you guys that this time of the year, hedge funds and institutions, they're positioning for next year. So if a fund out there has a big position in Tesla, say $1 billion, couple $100 million, it makes sense to hedge out that position before you start a new year, especially if there is a chance of a recession. So as we get through December, don't be surprised if you start seeing a little bit more negative option activity. But we're not exactly seeing that as of right now. Over the past week, you have seen about 5,000 different hedge fund and institutional trades via the options market in Tesla, worth $10.5 billion with a positive order value of 54%. Positive order value is hedge funds and institutions buying calls or selling puts. Bearish positioning is buying puts or selling calls. So you're still seeing the bulls winning out here. If you take a look at the volume on the day today as well, it is elevated to the call side at 57.64%. Volume on the put side is 42.36%. So the volume today does look pretty dang good. The short position in Tesla is currently $21.68 billion, which is, again, by far the most shorted stock in our markets. And for whatever reason or another, people always love to be short in Tesla. They always love to get proven wrong year after year after year. Maybe some point in time, they will be correct, but it's probably not next year. If anything, my expectation is 2024 is going to be a great year for Tesla. Tesla's going to prove all of the bears and the shorts wrong. 2025 could be a little bit more difficult of a year because that's when I think we're at a greater chance of seeing a recession, considering 2025, a new president is going to be in office, or the same president is going to have a longer term. However this boils out, that's when you're more likely to see a recession. No president has ever won a re-election in the United States history. If that election has took place at the same time the economy is in a recession. In other words, if there's a recession, well, you're out the door. You're no longer calling the White House your president, your residence. Probably one of the most exciting things today for Tesla is the fact that Tesla is above its 100-day moving average. The 100-day moving average is at $242.93, whereas Tesla stock is about $1 higher than that at $243.60 per share. It's very volatile as we are heading into the last half an hour or so of trading, so keep that in mind. Things can obviously change here, but as of right now, it's looking pretty dang good. Your RSI at 57.53, which suggests you're probably moving higher, as well as this coiling here on the charts. It looks like we're about to break to the upside. As Heisenberg says, Tesla, that feeling you get 5 seconds before it blows. Focus. I'm talking about Tesla's chart. It's about to blow. Apparently is what the technicals look like, and that's exactly what we've been talking about for a while now. If you start to break above these midterm or long-term trend lines, which if you actually connect this trend line all the way back up, it connects to the peaks of the share price back in 2021 and the rallies in 2022. It's almost perfect. So if you break above about 250, 255, then you could really explode to the upside, or as Heisenberg says, she could blow to the upside. So that is going to do it for this video. You do not want to miss the next video. We're going to be going over this note from Tony Saganagi, whether or not it makes any degree of sense. Just a quick spoiler alert. I feel like I lose brain cells every time I listen to one of his reports, but that's actually blissful, because without the bears, it's hard to make any gains. So individuals like Tony Saganagi, people that are bearish on Tesla, are actually what you want to see if you are a Tesla stock investor, and if you are bullish or want to see your shares go up in value, well, you gotta like these reports from individuals like Tony Saganagi. We'll break that down more in depth, as well as what in the world is going on in our markets. How is the positioning out there? What's likely to come next for stocks? We'll break all of that down in the video coming out at 8:30 p.m. later tonight. If you made it to the end of this video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to come trade with us as well, live in real time, I send out all of my alerts. Today we did make a trade on IWM. Yesterday we made this trade in anticipation of this data. It looks like IWM, the Russell 2000, is up about 0.91% heading into the end of trading, almost 1%. So that trade is up like 30-ish percent, 40% here on the day today. So definitely a solid one. Come join us if you guys would like to. And believe it or not, I put $1,000 on this trade. It's up like $400 or so. That one trade alone could pay for the cost to be in the trading community for a couple years. So yeah, it's a good time. Come join us. Link down below in the description of this video. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.